Ready, Sally? Nope. Haven't heard. He might be on his way, so. It's 5:15, so we'll call this regular meeting to order, and please stand and recite the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd also like to thank everybody in the audience tonight, too. So, the board norms, who would like to read those tonight? Terry? They're right there.
The board developed norms are: decisions will be based on the board's strategic plan, its mission, and what's best for students. The board will act as stewards of tax dollars. Board members will complete foundation work to be prepared for meetings. Meetings will be efficient. All perspectives will be voiced and heard, and all board members will maintain a professional decorum.
Thanks, Terry. We have no public communications. Is there any conflicts of interest to declare? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Gail, seconded by Brenda. Assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving into the regular agenda, we have no recognition, correspondence. Moving to C, reports. Southeast Cooperative, Amy?
Hi, nice to see everyone again. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Amy Walters. I am the Director of Student Services for the Southeast Education Cooperative, and I'm passing around our board update. You should be receiving these monthly. We send them out and to our superintendents and ask them to distribute them to board members. On the second page there, you can make note of the governing board members. You're fortunate in that Heidi serves on that board, so if you ever have any questions regarding the Southeast Education Cooperative and our programming or services that we provide, please reach out to Heidi. Tonight I just wanted to highlight a few of the upcoming and ongoing professional development opportunities and programming that we provide that Jamestown Public Schools participates in or is a beneficiary of. So this year we have 3 programs that are an ongoing model of professional development. When we look at best practice in adult learning strategies and taking that content and applying them and making change in our daily practice, we know that the one day doesn't always accomplish that. So we're looking at trying to provide opportunities that are more job embedded over time. And 3 of those are, our first is the Improving Academic Literacy Project. Jamestown has 2 teams, both an elementary team and a secondary team. So you have 9 participants in the elementary cohort and 7 in the secondary cohort. We also are offering just-in-time mathematics. This is something we've been doing now. We started a cohort 2 years ago, and now we'll be starting our second cohort. So it's an ongoing 2-year embedded professional development for math teachers. We started at the 6th grade level with the new state standards and the rigor of those. Some of the math teachers didn't have that math content, didn't have that mathematical practices background. And so Just in Time is designed that it gives those teachers what they need, where they are in their curriculum at that time. And they provide that. They can go back and use that right away, and then they'll meet again and give them then what they need where they're at that point. So we have now expanded that to all the way down to grade 4 up through grade 7. So we have different cohorts going on with every grade level across the SEC, and we have actually expanded now to providing this training throughout the state. It's something that was recognized by DPI as a great opportunity, so we're now doing that statewide. There are, the numbers are a little bit yet to be determined for Jamestown Public School participants, but we're somewhere between 12 and 15 in the second cohort. We had several that participated in our first cohort as well. And then we have MTSS, which is a multi-tiered system of support, which is very close to RTI or PBS, all of those acronyms that maybe we're more familiar to hearing. And in that group, we have both an elementary and secondary cohort, and Jamestown has 4 elementary participants and 5 secondary participants in that. So that's specific to our professional development and our kind of ongoing year-round opportunities. We do have several opportunities, whether it be for paraprofessionals or physical education teachers. We have ELL training coming up here, looking at kind of everything you need to know that maybe they didn't teach you when you got your credential type of a thing. So there are lots of opportunities that Jamestown Public Schools is participating in when it comes to professional development. And then on my side of things, we do have 2 pretty significant programs that Jamestown Public Schools benefits from in our 21st Century Community Learning Center program, which is our out-of-school time, so before, after, and summer programming. This summer we had an all-day, everyday program at Washington Elementary, which just was great, and they had just had some amazing experiences with STEM integration and the things that we get to do with them when we have them all day is pretty amazing. Right now, at all 4 of the elementary schools that qualify, so if you remember, schools qualify based upon free and reduced percentage. So we have Louis L'Amour, Lincoln, Washington, and Roosevelt that qualify. We have 194 registrants already when we're looking at less than 10 days into school. So that's a big program in Jamestown. And then we also have North Dakota Reading Corps, which provides AmeriCorps tutors supporting early literacy intervention. And we are still recruiting for tutors. We have 2 of our 4 slots filled. So if you know anyone that would like to do a year of service in the schools, please reach out to me soon. So that might have gone over my 3-minute time limit, but I'll take any questions if there are any.
Any questions for Amy? Or?
Yes, and the paper's been great. They've done a press release for us, and we've had some paid ads. So we are looking for literacy tutors. Really the only requirement, the minimum requirement, is that they're over 17 years of age. And they would need to read, yes. Yep. We do all the training.
Any other questions for her? None? Thanks, Amy.
Thank you for your time.
Moving to number 2, the health insurance report. John?
Hi, I'm John Lynch. I'm representing the district's health insurance committee. And Mr. Lecter had asked me to talk a little bit about the insurance that's coming up here. We've gone to a new plan. It was called Select Choice 100, and we're going to Select Choice 250. And basically what that means is that we are going to a higher deductible. This year it was $100 per person, now it's $250. And it was $200 for family, and now it's $500. Out of pocket went from $1,850 to $2,500, and per person, and now for a family it's $5,000 compared to $3,700. It's gone up because the costs have gone up. One thing that we've had to do this year is adding our employees that are from 30 to 39 hours, so that original estimates were a possibility of 73 new employees on the program, and I guess I haven't talked to Sally about what the final number is. With that, we had to go to a new policy. One of the advantages of our policy is that it's our policy. They had to make up a name for this one for us because it's one that we put money in, that The school board puts money in, and so it's ours. Another new thing for this policy is that it's a any network policy. Before you had to choose where you're going to go, either Sanford or Essentia. Now it works for any. You don't have to pick and choose. So for the 30 to 39 hour employees, we had to offer them at least, government mandate says we have to offer them at least a single health insurance policy. And so that amount is the same as anybody who works over 40 hours. Where it differs is that the single plus dependent and the family are higher than what the 40-hour employees. We could have done that, but we decided it would just cost too much right now. It's something that we're leaving open and looking down the road for. So, any questions?
Any questions for John?
Family plan is $368 a month. The employer side, yeah. It's $16.79 for the employer side. Very good deal. Hayes was very helpful. I mean, they did so much for us, our consulting group. They did so much for us, getting the legwork down, comparing prices, going to Blue Cross, getting numbers for us. They were a big help in getting this together. And from what they found out in checking around other school districts, we have a very good plan.
Maybe you said you did know this, but Sally, do you know the numbers that have come up? The ones that are the new employees that we're going to add on?
Currently, right now, with 71, there's still a couple pairs to hire. 31 of them added, and then 40 of them waived the coverage.
Okay, it's about half. Okay. Any other questions for John? None? Thanks for coming in the information. So, moving on to number 3, superintendent's report. Rob?
Thank you. I have, you should have my report attached. I'll just kind of briefly touch on areas. We had talked in the past about when we were able, or when we felt we were able, we wanted to add national conferences back into for board members. I think we all know there's great value to attending those conferences as you listen to different workshops and speakers, the tracks that are embedded into the sessions, leadership, board governance, etc. They're really invaluable as you look to grow as a board member. And just like anything you do, it's feeding into your skill set. So anything we can do to enhance that really benefits the district and the board as a whole. I created a schedule for national conferences. I think, in my opinion, what works the best is you have slots, and it isn't open to who wants to go this year, because in my opinion, in the who wants to go this year scenario, it typically becomes the same people going and the same people not going every year, because we all are busy. We all can look at dates and say, oh, it's not going to work for me this year. And in my opinion, what works the best is you have a slot. If you can't go, you can't go, but it encourages you with enough time to be able to prepare for scheduling that you should be able to go. I also believe it works best, and it's to the greatest benefit of the district, if you go in one of the first 2 years of after you're elected, rather than in the end of the year, end of maybe your last term. It still has benefit to the district, but it's not as much. So I created a schedule for your consideration to look at, and again, the focus being on one of your first 2 years of your term, whether you're elected for the first time or re-elected, that you would be scheduled to go. And if you have questions on that, I'd be happy to answer any, but I'll just go ahead. Yep.
My only comment would be the convention is usually in end of March, early April or whatever, and I would just want to make sure that who's ever up for election that year, if they're considering not running, that they absolutely do not go. I don't want to pay for somebody who's not going to be on the board. Now, if they run and lose, that's something different.
Just for clarification, the way this is set up, you would have to be elected. After you're elected, one of the first 2 years after you're elected, you would be going. In the completion of your first year or the completion of your second year after election. We had brought it before the business manager evaluation. Thank you to Greg for reaching out to School Boards Association, getting a good policy template for business managers to be able to, for boards to be able to defer that to the superintendent, which I would advocate for. I think it's the cleanest process and it's the most consistent process with what we've done in the past. And there's also a very good sample evaluation that I believe works nicely with what our expectations for that position are. So in the very near future, I'll be bringing that policy template for a first reading. Early childhood grant, as you might remember, one of our bills brought forward provided $3 million for early education grants, looking at community partnerships, basically leveraging what's already taking place in terms of pre-K and helping those agencies work together. One of the requirements is for the superintendent to call this meeting, and so I have drafted an agenda. I've sent out a letter, or it will be sent out if it hasn't. I don't remember if it got sent out. Okay. It's coming out in the near future, along with the procedures guide, and I have a number of different resources for this group. And so we will meet on October 1st, and I will facilitate the meeting. A coalition group will be formed, and then that's really the school district's responsibility there. At this time, we aren't going to be providing pre-K services. We don't have the funds, unfortunately. We don't have capacity to do it, but if it's something that the community of Jamestown supports in the future, we would certainly look into that as long as appropriate funding would exist to do so. But in the meantime, something is better than no funding at all. And if there's ways that we can support pre-K education, we'd be happy to do that in Jamestown. The referendum resources, we've had a number of different meetings. I've visited with some civic organizations, done some radio spots, different mailings, which you may have already received. And we're just looking to really saturate the market with as much information as we can to help educate voters so when they go to the polls on September 29th, they feel educated in what the referendum means, the background work that went into this proposal, and really what that proposal is all about. So with that, I have no more unless you have questions for me.
Any questions, Rob? None. Moving to D, any old business? Hearing none, moving to new business. We have nothing under activities, building and grounds, curriculum. Moving to number 4, finance. Is there a motion to approve the rental agreement for Wilson Arena for $27,750 with Jamestown Park and Rec for the 2015-16 school year? Motion by Heidi, seconded by Bob. Any discussion? Heidi?
I visited with you a little bit earlier. The insurance that's required, is that typical of these types of contracts? And then are they required also to carry insurance?
I don't think it's unusual to have this requirement. I believe that we've had it in the past in previous agreements. Is that correct, Sally?
Actually, the $2 million maximum is what the school district can apply. So that's, that has been changed because that's the maximum the school district can get. So those contracts you'll see. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion? Bob?
What would know what the rent was last year?
It's a $250 increase, $27,500 last year.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to number 5, personnel. Is there a motion to approve the hire of Brandon Michael as machine tool teacher at the Career and Technology Center at a .25 FTE, Step 1, salary of $9,946.25 for the 2015-16 school year? Motion by Terry, seconded by Gail. Any discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter B, is there a motion to approve the extended contract, school year contract for Luke Anderson for one additional construction tech 1 class, 2 semesters, at a salary of $8,348.33? Motion by Brenda. Second. Oh, Heidi. Okay. Seconded by Greg. Any discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the extended school year contract for Joan Cromlick for one additional period, .08 FTE, 1 semester, for an English language learner at the high school at a salary of $2,587.55? Motion by Brenda, seconded by Terry. Any discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter D, is there a motion to approve the extended school year contract for Pam Schmiedemeyer for one additional physical education, what's that? Schmiedeberg. Oh, Schmiedeberg. For one additional physical education class, 2 semesters, at a salary of $1,053.33. Motion by Gail, seconded by Mindy. Any discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to number 6, policy and procedures. Is there a motion to approve the second reading of the board use of electronic devices? Motion by Brenda, seconded by Gail. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll come back to number 7, the budget hearing at 6 o'clock here. Moving to tuition, is there a motion to approve the no-cost tuition agreement for a first grade Jamestown student to attend Barnes County North for the 2015-16 school year? Motion by Mindy, seconded by Brenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter B, is there a motion to approve the no-cost tuition agreement for a 10th grade Jamestown student to attend Barnes County North for the 2015-16 school year? Motion by Brenda, seconded by Terry. Any discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter C, is there a motion to approve the no-cost tuition agreement for a 6th grade Litchville Marion student to attend Jamestown Public School for the 2015-16 school year? Motion by Heidi, seconded by Gail. Any discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter D, is there a motion to approve the no-cost tuition agreement for a Valley City family, 5th grade, 3rd grade, and a kindergartner to attend Jamestown Public School for the 2015-16 school year? Motion by Mindy, seconded by Brenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to number 9, is there a motion to approve the annual school compliance report and approve the Sept LEA compliance report? Motion by Bob, seconded by Diane. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter B, is there approval to submit the MIS 03, the 02, and the 01, and the PER 02? That's our personal, Bob, motion by Bob, seconded by Gail. Sure. Okay. You want to explain what that is, Rob?
Those are all personnel reports, our required reports that we send in. It would, for example, talk about the high school, what classes are being taught, students in there, certifications, ensure that we are meeting compliance. It's really very similar to what you just approved with the annual compliance reports, taking the place of accreditation and approval. We do it this way we do assurances now instead of getting our approval to hold school in May, like we used to under the old system. We would get that letter in April or May and say, you're okay to have school this year. So this is a little bit better system than that. And the PER 02s deal with non-certified staff.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to Roman number 4, items for future agenda. We have the selection of the 2014 School Board Convention delegates. We have Diane, Brenda, and Bob. And did you get my email too?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then Terry talked.
Terry? Okay. Okay. And so, okay. Okay. So we'll have a good, yeah, Terry said he wouldn't be a delegate, so I can be a delegate. Diane, are you going to be there with the whole? And then Bob's there, you're the whole, Mindy, you're there for the duration? Oh, okay. So how many delegates can we have, or?
4.
Okay. So you can just pick the 4 where everyone's, then, so, because we'll have
Do we have 4?
myself, Brenda, Diane, and Bob.
Oh,
So we'll have
they'll
4.
be there for the meeting?
Yep.
Great.
So, Greg, you going to be going, or? Okay.
Okay. Okay, so that's the. So just for clarification, for delegates,
We'll have Diane, Brenda, Bob, and myself. And then Heidi, you're not going to make it, or?
I may be able to make a lot, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we got that taken care of. Okay. Moving to Roman numeral 5, meetings to be scheduled. We have the Health Insurance Committee meeting coming up on Monday, September 14th at 3:30 in the Central Office Conference Room. We have the TRAX meeting on Tuesday, September 15th at 7 a.m. at the Central Office Conference Room. We have the Referendum Committee Community Meeting on Thursday, September 17th at 7 o'clock at the Thompson Room here at the middle school. Our regular school board meeting is Monday, 5:15 here in the Thompson Room. 21st, or 20.
we moved it to the 28th.
The 28th, make that note. That's okay. And then for going to letter E, board retreat items. Yep.
And I didn't put it on the agenda, and I should have, I apologize, but the board retreat would be the 8th
Of October?
of October, 5:30 in the Central Office Conference Room.
What have we have on our list already for board retreat items? Do you remember?
I don't know off the top of my
Okay.
head.
Because there was a number of them that we talked about before, and, what's that?
Finance, the detail of the finance.
Okay. And then there was there anything to do with superintendent evaluation? No? Okay. What's that, Gail? So if there's anything else that you want to discuss at the board retreats, just let Rob or myself know, and we can get that on there. And then we do, before we, I think we'll have a little break here before our 6 o'clock. Yeah, we'll recess here for 10 minutes and then come back for the budget hearing then, so. Ready? It's 6 o'clock. We'll start the meeting again here and move right to the budget hearing. Rob?
Thank you. You have a you have the memo in front of you, and we don't have any participants here for our hearing, but I think for we do have it recorded, and I think for the purposes of those listening, we can go through and participate as if we had some to hear. But this public hearing, this is not something that we need to have. There's statutory requirements to when you need to hold a budget hearing. We don't meet those requirements, but I feel it's in the interest of transparency that we do have it, even though we aren't required to do so. There are some letters and some ads that, if you do meet that requirement, you have to send out. We chose not to do that because we didn't need to. It's an expense that the district shouldn't bring forward if they don't have to. But having this hearing available is important. But for the purposes of the budget approval, we have approved a preliminary budget on July 20th. We'll formalize our levy request on October 5th. So at that time is when we'll be making things formalized. For the purposes of this area of our agenda, if somebody were to come in and wish to speak, you'd allow them to do so. It isn't a Q&A. It is simply information gathering and sharing of perspective. You may want to clarify statements if you feel it's appropriate to do so. But I just wanted to share a little bit of information related to our levy. From a comparison standpoint, and this is the reason why we don't need to have this hearing, is because we'll be levying, based on what we know right now, we'll be levying less in terms of total dollars than we levied last year. Now, I think it's important to separate out our referendum, and I'll talk about the referendum a little bit, but we have to separate those two things out. That happens on September 29th. That's a vote. And if 60% of folks say that they want to move forward with that referendum, then that would add 25.11 mils to the number that I'll share. But what we know right now is what we're going to be bringing forward. So that's why we don't have to have the hearing. We levied last year 115.97 mils at a taxable value of just under 52 million. That is 62.54 to the general fund, 7.02 to tuition, 12 to the miscellaneous fund, 3.01 to special assessments, and 21.4 for sinking and interest. That's the high school bond. The proposed budget is based on 94.54 mils at a taxable value of just over 58 million. Breakdown is again the same, 62.54 mils for the general fund, 7 for tuition, 12 for miscellaneous, 3 for special assessments. And again, 25.11 would be added to that if the referendum is affirmed on September 29th. From a budget update standpoint, the majority of our budget relates, of course, to salary and benefits. That's the majority of our expenditures, so it's the majority of our increases also. We're seeing an increase to personnel costs of just under $800,000 as compared to our last year's budget. Really, the majority of those are related to negotiations. $525,000 directly related to health care costs due to compliance with the Affordable Care Act. And you're familiar with what we've already done in terms of our negotiated agreement, so I won't go into those. But really, the bulk of that increase comes down to personnel costs, which I don't think is a surprise to anybody. Impact on property taxes, based on our proposed mill levies, using that gold standard of a $100,000 home, would see a projected decrease in the school portion of his or her property taxes. And I think it's important we talk about school portion of property taxes. Sometimes we get asked that question, but my taxes are higher than that. We're just the school portion of that. It might be a big portion, but it is only one portion of property taxes. So that would decrease on a $100,000 home from about $522 annually to about $425, a total decrease of about $96. Ag land, using that same standard, even though $100,000 in ag land doesn't get you very much, but that would see a projected decrease as well from 580 to 507 or 473, a total decrease of approximately $107 annually. Our referendum, again, that would increase slightly. If you look at an apples-to-apple comparison last year to this year, that increase on a $100,000 home would be less than $17 annually. Agricultural property valued at $100,000 would see slightly over $18 increase compared to last year. We also added some information on our projected deficit. We're projecting a deficit of around $700,000 this year. The good news here is that at the end of our 16-17 school year, we're projecting about $250,000. So that we've been making that long trek to get down to a balanced budget, and we've wanted to do it over time, so we're making the right changes, and we are certainly getting there. $250,000 is really a pretty manageable number, and I think that we can do that. But so that is certainly good news as we looked at some of the changes that we've made, some of the changes that the state's made in terms of increasing state funding. But our increasing student enrollment, we know that we're funded a year behind, so as we grow, it kind of takes us a year to catch up. And the changes that have been made to our negotiated agreement. Those are really the critical factors of driving down that deficit. So I would, if you have questions of me, I see no speakers here or people to share their perspectives. But if you have questions or any clarifications.
Greg?
So basically, when you look at the referendum and the reduction, even if that came into place, it's still a discount. I mean, it's still a reduction in overall tax.
No. If we would see a reduction if the referendum were not to pass, if we're just doing an apples-to-apples comparison right now between levied last year and no referendum, you would see the decreases that I mentioned in the third paragraph or fourth paragraph. If the referendum were to pass, you'd see a $17 increase on a $100,000 home. But the reason why that doesn't count for this hearing is because that's what's certain. What's certain is what we're proposing. The referendum, that goes to the people. They have to make that assessment. We don't have we have to post a certain amount of days to have this hearing. We can't do both. So this is what we know. And so our requirements are to do it prior to formalizing the budget. So that's what we can do.
Bob?
One of the concerns with the budget for this year was going to be the ACA and that effect on of bringing on the 30-hour workers. Sally, you were talking earlier about the numbers that have signed up, and I didn't catch that. What are they?
Yeah, total right now 71. There's probably 2 other people pairs that they haven't hired. So there's 31 that added and 40 that waived. So about 2/3 of them came on.
So and we added slightly over $500,000, I think, to the health insurance fund. Do you have a projection yet on the effect that that's going to have on the health insurance budget with the changes that have been made? And I know it's real early, but just an idea.
I think it's early to say anything specific, but I think we can say it's about what we expected to come on board. And, the dollars put forward that were outlined here with the total costs, that related to that increased portion from the district, the costs of new staff coming on board and offering those out. So really a significant cost to the district, but one that it's going to have long-term benefit for staff.
Any other questions for Rob? Any other information as far as the hearing, or is that's it there?
Anybody wants to speak?
I don't see anybody rushing to the podium, so we'll just assume they don't want to. If there's no other business before the board, I would just remind everybody to right-click on their adjournment to assess the meeting, and the meeting's adjourned.
I did fix those